Breaking news. Philippine Defense Secretary slams China's brazen, illegal moves in the South China Sea. The South China Sea has once again become a boiling cauldron of tension. In recent days, the world's attention snapped to this contested arena as Philippine Coast Guard vessels faced off against Chinese ships, their hulls glinting in the tropical sun. The radio crackled with warnings, and the ocean's calm hid an undercurrent of danger. Reports show China's maritime militia making bold advances, shadowing Filipino boats and erecting new structures on disputed reefs. The air is thick with anxiety. One wrong move could spark a wider crisis. Ordinary fishermen steer clear of certain waters, fearing harassment or worse. The stakes could not be higher for peace and stability in Southeast Asia. This is more than a clash of ships. It's a fight for sovereignty, resources, and regional power. The world is watching, and the next chapter in this saga will shape Asia's future. In a packed press conference in Manila, the Philippine Defense Secretary's voice rang with urgency. China's actions are nothing short of illegal and aggressive, he declared, slamming his fist on the podium. His words echoed around the region, his tone defiant and unyielding. "We will not stand for these brazen moves in our waters." He described incidents of Chinese vessels blocking Filipino boats, shining military-grade lasers, and even firing water cannons at supply missions. "Our sovereignty is not for sale," he thundered, calling on ASEAN partners to rally together. The tension in the room was palpable. Journalists scribbled notes, cameras whirred, and the world hung on his every word. His statement drew immediate reactions. Some ASEAN leaders voiced support, while others hesitated, wary of angering Beijing. The defense secretary's stance set the stage for a new phase of confrontation and for bold diplomacy. The Philippines was demanding action, not just words. For many Filipinos, this was a moment of pride and peril. Their government's resolve was being tested on the world stage, with the South China Sea as its proving ground. ASEAN's approach to the South China Sea isn't about dramatic leaps. Instead, it's about careful, deliberate steps. For decades, these 10 Southeast Asian nations have moved slowly, building consensus with patience and pragmatism. The goal isn't instant victory, it's steady progress that can survive the region's many storms. This incremental method is rooted in experience. Past attempts at sweeping change have often crashed on the rocks of internal disagreement. By focusing on small wins and shared interests, ASEAN keeps everyone at the table even when tempers flare. Each meeting, each joint statement, is another brick in a fragile but growing foundation. Of course, this slow pace frustrates some. Critics say ASEAN is too cautious, always a step behind. But supporters argue that unity is its true strength. When so many countries with diverse interests work together, every small step forward counts. Patience, not impulsiveness, is ASEAN's shield against chaos. In the South China Sea, that may be the only way to keep hope alive. Now, as ASEAN's chair, the Philippines has a chance to set the agenda. Manila's diplomats work late into the night, drafting proposals and seeking common ground among wary partners. They know that leadership means balancing ambition with the reality of what ASEAN can achieve together. The Philippines pushes for the long-delayed code of conduct, hoping to curb tensions and prevent dangerous incidents at sea. Their message is clear: ASEAN must stay united, or risk losing influence to outside powers. They urge practical steps, joint patrols, crisis hotlines, shared information, to build trust and deter aggression. But it's not easy. Some member states have closer economic ties to China and fear jeopardizing trade. Others worry about being drawn into a dispute not of their making. The Philippines must listen as well as lead, finding ways to make everyone feel heard. Still, Manila's steady hand is making a difference. Under its watch, ASEAN is talking more openly about the challenges ahead and about the need to face them together. Behind closed doors, disagreements simmer. Some ASEAN countries, like Vietnam and Malaysia, share the Philippines' concerns about Chinese expansion, but others, Cambodia, Laos, have deep economic links to Beijing and often block stronger statements. This makes it nearly impossible for ASEAN to speak with one voice. China knows this and uses its influence skillfully. It offers loans, investments, and infrastructure projects to win friends and quiet critics. In return, some ASEAN members are, reluctant to criticize Beijing, even when their own interests are at risk. The result is a fractured front, vulnerable to outside manipulation. The Defense Secretary's call for unity is a direct response to these challenges. He knows that as long as ASEAN is divided, China will hold the upper hand. This division is the region's greatest weakness, and overcoming it is ASEAN's biggest test. Yet, hope remains. The South China Sea crisis is forcing tough conversations, and slowly, ASEAN is learning to navigate its internal storm. The Code of Conduct, or COC, is often hailed as ASEAN's best hope for stability in the South China Sea, but even its strongest supporters admit it's no silver bullet. The COC is really just a set of rules, a framework for managing disputes and avoiding dangerous clashes. What it's not, though, is a solution to the region's deepest divides. The COC has no teeth. It can't force China or any claimant to respect boundaries or abandon artificial islands. Enforcement, honestly, depends on goodwill, not hard power. Critics worry that with no penalties for cheating, the COC could be ignored in a crisis. Still, the COC is a step forward. It encourages dialogue, spells out basic rules of behavior, and helps prevent misunderstandings. It's sort of a safety net, one that buys time and space for future negotiations. Policymakers hope it will keep tempers from flaring until a real solution can be found. Everyone agrees. The COC is progress, but not peace. It's a lifeline, not a life raft. The hard work of resolving claims and building trust lies ahead. In the shadow of standoffs and close calls, ASEAN is betting on better communication. Joint patrols, shared radar data, and direct lines between naval commanders are quietly being put in place. These practical steps may sound small, but honestly, they can mean the difference between de-escalation and disaster. The Philippines is leading here too. Its Coast Guard now trains with neighbors, sharing tactics and information. When vessels from different countries encounter each other at sea, protocols guide their actions, reducing the risk of accidents. Officers know whom to call if something goes wrong. Meetings aren't just talk, there are drills, workshops, and real coordination in the field. Each exercise, each handshake, builds a little more trust. These routines are really the glue that holds ASEAN's fragile maritime peace together. It's not glamorous, but it works. In the fog of uncertainty, communication and cooperation are ASEAN's best defense. If there's one lesson from ASEAN's long struggle in the South China Sea, it's this: set goals you can actually achieve. Grand solutions may grab headlines, but it's the small, steady gains that last. By focusing on practical steps, like information sharing and crisis management, ASEAN avoids the disappointment of failed promises. Realism doesn't mean giving up. It means being honest about the challenges and working within what's possible. ASEAN leaders know their limits. They don't have a military alliance or the power to force China's hand, but they do have each other and the ability to build habits of cooperation that pay off over time. The Philippines keeps expectations grounded. Each meeting is a chance to move a 1 inch forward, not a mile. Over time, those inches add up. This is how ASEAN has survived and sometimes thrived amid storms. By setting realistic goals, ASEAN preserves hope. It keeps the door open for bigger breakthroughs in the future. Picture a conference room at dusk. The air is heavy with the scent of strong coffee and the hum of whispered debates. Around the table, diplomats from 10 nations lean in, faces lit by the glow of laptop screens showing ship movements in the South China Sea. The Philippine chair calls for unity, reminding everyone what's at stake. Outside, the waves lap at the shore, calm for now, but restless. In the distance, the silhouettes of Coast Guard vessels patrol uncertain waters, their crews alert for the unexpected. Inside, voices rise and fall, sometimes clashing but never breaking. Each word, each compromise, is a building block for the future. The urgency is real. Every day brings new risks and new chances for miscalculation. But so is the hope. By sticking together, setting realistic goals, and focusing on small wins, ASEAN can weather the storm. The Philippines, at the helm, is steering the group toward a stronger, more united future. Unity is not just a slogan, it's ASEAN's lifeline. And in the South China Sea, it may be the region's best hope for peace.